Both.
I have to send link here.
I'm sure I'll be sharing the link, sir.
You will share the link with everybody.
बहुत मेहनत कर रहा है हमारे
Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturnvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. So this chapter is about how to do dhyan, how to attain the final liberation through dhyan, and before dhyan as to how to get your mind to be ekagra. If that sound is a little too loud, then you can just tell them to reduce the volume. If you think so, I'm fine. In the cafe here. So it talks about how do you bring your mind to focus. Okay. एकाग्र बुद्धि को कैसे एकाग्र करना है. यदि बुद्धि एकाग्र होगी तभी ध्यान हो पाएगा. ठीक है. सो ये मन एकाग्र कैसे होगा जिससे ध्यान लगे, ये समझने के लिए हमने कहा कि आसक्ति रहित कर्म करेंगे तो मन धीरे धीरे एकाग्र होगा. तो ये हमने पहले समझा. उसके बाद में फिर कहा कि ये एकाग्र करने के लिए हमें जिस प्रकार से मन भागता है विषयों के पीछे, वो नहीं भागना चाहिए, और यही हमारा दुश्मन है और यही हमारा मित्र है यदि हम उसको कंट्रोल कर सकें तो. ठीक. एक बारी मन जो है एकाग्र होगा तो उसके बाद में ध्यान लगने की संभावना है. फिर ध्यान लगने के बाद हमने पढ़ा कि किस तरह से धीरे धीरे ये समझ में आने लगता है कि ये जो विवेक है कि हमें कैसे धीरे धीरे जो है मन भगवान में लगाना है, परमात्मा में लगाना है. तो उसके अंदर हम मत चित्त और मत पर हमने दो शब्द पढ़े. उसमें मत चित्त का अर्थ है कि मैं अपना चित्त केवल भगवान में ही लगाऊंगा. मत चित्त मेरे में ही लगाना है, भगवान कहते हैं. उसके बाद में वो कहा कि किस प्रकार से धीरे धीरे ये वननेस, सेमनेस इन एवरीथिंग हम लोग देखते हैं कि ये जो विषय देख रहे हैं उसके अंदर विषय को देखने की जगह उसमें क्या उसका असली तत्व है उसको देखना, उसको समझे, और उसमें और जो भी हम चीज़ देख रहे हैं उसमें वही आत्मा को देखें. धीरे धीरे जब उसको देखने की हमें आदत पड़ जाती है तो हमारे मन में एकदम शांति, ब्लिस उत्पन्न होती है, और वो धीरे धीरे उसके आगे जाके वो लिबरेशन के लिए, मुक्ति के लिए हमें तैयार करती है. ठीक है. यही पढ़ा था हमने अभी तक 26 में. अब हम आ रहे हैं 27 में. एनी क्वेश्चन सो फार? सो वील रीड द श्लोका नंबर 27 and somebody read it aloud.
The yogi whose mind has been thoroughly stilled.
So this yogi is about this person who's already got his mind एकाग्र करके, और वो सब चीजों में एक देखता है, एक भाव से देखता है. हाँ.
Whose rajogun, tendency to act, delusion and other afflictions have fallen away. He who has become Brahma, that is liberated, a person with conviction that all this is Brahma alone, and he who is sinless, without flaws of unrighteous actions, etc., such a yogi obtains the ultimate incomparable bliss.
So here it is said कि ये जो डिल्यूजन और जो बाकी चीज़ें हैं, जो भ्रम है, जो हमारे में मोह है, और बाकी जो हमारे में दोष है वो हमने पिछली बारी देखा था कि षट संपत्ति, शम दम उपरति तितिक्षा, श्रद्धा समाधान, सब चीजें उसमें आई थी जो हमने इससे पहले श्लोक पढ़े थे। तो वो सब षट संपत्ति से युक्त जो व्यक्ति है और साथ में अब वो पाप पुण्य वाले कर्म भी नहीं करता, पाप वाले कर्म नहीं करता, तो वो धीरे धीरे उस अनंत शांति को पाता है, incomparable bliss. Now, how is it incomparable? Because it is not dependent on anything else. It is not comparable to anything else. And we'll understand that a little more in the next shloka. Okay? So we'll read the next shloka also.
Without impediments arising out of yoga actions, the yogi with sinless past deeds integrates his mind as given in the steps above, easily experiences the infinite, incomparable, unsurpassed bliss. That bliss which is connected to Brahma and is eternal, Anant. He obtains such supreme bliss.
So here the bliss has been described very clearly, that which is connected to Brahma, that which is infinite, which is uncomparable, which is unsurpassed. Okay, that ultimate bliss. जो हम सच्चिदानंद में कहते हैं, जो आनंद है, उस ब्लिस की यहाँ पर चर्चा हो रही है। आगे पढ़िए।
Now the fruit of yoga, which is to see the oneness with Brahma, is shown.
Sorry, the previous one. The yogi with sinless past deeds. But earlier we discussed that sins can be there, but they can be washed away.
So that is what he has done.
So once washed away, it becomes sin.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what he has done. No, absolutely correct.
Now the fruit of yoga, which is to see the oneness with Brahma, is shown.
So far he has taken us through the steps which he is saying कि यहाँ तक योगा है, यहाँ तक कुछ करने का है, और यहाँ पर भी जो bliss की condition है, यहाँ पर भी he is not performing any action because it is being said with impediments arising out of actions. उसके पहले भी whose rajogun, tendency to act, has been completely stilled. So in these conditions also he is not acting. Okay, he is just merged with that one, he is just focused on that one, he is just remaining with that one, but he is not making any effort, okay, to do anything about obtaining that bliss. There is no specific objective of obtaining that bliss. He obtains that on its own. Right? In a similar fashion here also, the fruit of yoga, which is जो आउटकम है इसका, जो हमने ऊपर दोनों श्लोक देखे हैं, उनका आउटकम है वो यहाँ पर ऑटोमेटिकली होता है. Okay, so he is now going to talk about what is it that he is going to see as oneness in Brahma. So he is now becoming integrated union with Brahma. Okay. Yeah.
Whose inner self is integrated and sees the sameness. Such a yogi, he whose knowledge shows the unity of Brahma and Atma, sees the sameness in all different beings, from a blade of grass to Brahma, has equality of vision everywhere. Such a person sees his Atma based in all elements and sees all elements based in Atma.
तो यहाँ पर अब बताया है कि हर एक चीज के अंदर उसको केवल आत्मा ही समझ में आता है, आत्मा ही दिखता है. कोई शरीर है उसमें भी आत्मा, कोई पेड़ है उसमें भी आत्मा ही है, कोई और वस्तु है उसमें भी केवल उसको आत्मा ही दिखता है. कैसे दिखता है?
There's no distinction of the body. I mean, that superimposition is all.
So he understands very clearly that this body is only the form, or this image which I am seeing is only the form, and in reality that which exists is that itself, the tattva, the atma. Because now he has become
Atma
so
or the Brahma?
Brahma and Atman same.
Same.
Because by now he spent so much time with the Brahma that he now starts seeing everything within everything Atma or Brahma.
My mind always goes back to the book you recommended because, and I'm seeing so many now videos every day of particle physics for that reason. Ultimately, everything to the atom, and then we go to electron and neutron, and go to quarks, and finally the God particle, as we call it. And finally, these are waves of energy. Whether it's a human being or mitti or everything. So it's absolutely the same. It's all the same.
Yeah.
The final analysis is all the same.
Yeah. So there are certain other qualities which we'll talk about later on. But yeah, what you're saying in essence that there is that Brahma which is that there in everything which is there, and that Brahma exists by itself there. Okay.
And this thing which is as given in the steps above. So
Which
the
is the
steps above
shlokas,
are karma
which is the shlokas which have been given preceding this shloka.
till 26.
Yeah. Which we have spoken about. Yeah. So there is a little example which has been given. It is as if there is a mirror and there are many mirrors, maybe broken mirrors which are lying on the ground, and the same sun which is reflecting. There is only one sun, but it is reflecting through all the broken pieces of the mirror. So the parts of the mirror are showing that same sun. And in that sense, we are parts which we have created ourselves as distinctive parts, but essentially we are reflecting that same sun, as an example. Yeah, it leads to many things, which basically says that essentially we are all one. Okay. Through the form which we take, we create the distinction, and in truth, we are therefore all one.
My mind also listening to you. The sun is the Brahma and the reflection is the Atma. It's the sunlight which is all.
In a sense, we see that to be one itself, because essentially, till the time there is ignorance, we only see the reflection.
Well said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after that, it becomes the same. Because the reflection can never be the same as the original image. And once that image becomes the same, the original becomes the same as the first one. And that image in the mirror is only used as a technique to understand that. Okay, which is there. So we see that image in ourselves, and that image becomes one eventually with that which is ultimate.
Sorry, I took your seat.
We go to 630, the next shloka.
He who sees everyone's Atma, me, Vasudeva, pervading all things, and sees all things and beings in me, the Atma of all, Ishvara.
So now he's saying that Nirgun which we are talking about, I am that Sagun, I am that Vasudeva. Okay. And now he will say that you need to just focus on me and the rest of it as what we have seen in case of Brahma. So the name Brahma is now being changed to Vasudev in the Sagun format, right? So read the shloka further.
For
But,
such a
but,
jnani,
but that's a leap of faith that that Nirakar is me, Sakar. He's told Arjuna, and Arjuna has to believe it, right?
So
So
we'll
that
get,
is where
No,
my
we-
issue has been from the beginning.
okay. You are Brahma?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's the answer.
So if Brahma is there, there is him also.
Yeah. Till the time you have not realized your Brahma, you are using him as the attribute or the method to reach the Brahma. Okay? Are you getting it?
It requires a leap of faith. That's what
No, it does not.
means.
Okay. I am Brahma,
Mm.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah? So, I am Vasudev.
Yes.
So, if he says he's Vasudev and he's Brahma, what is wrong?
But anybody can say that.
No. And that's, of course, he's written that. He's a realized person who understands that. He's speaking, he is talking. And therefore, he is also, of course, the Ishwar, because all the attributes which we understand of Brahma, which are not actually attributes, which we are attributing to Brahma. If we attribute to Vasudev, then it becomes the same as Brahma.
Actually, I'll discuss with you separately, because that is where now, so far, it was all fine. But this is where the issue begins. Because if you see the life of Vasudeva, it's like a normal, common human being with
So
all the
he's
flaws and everything. And suddenly he says, I am the Sakar roop of that Nirakar, and that's why I'm calling it a leap of faith.
saying the same thing to Arjun. Arjun believes, of course, that's why he's asked this
Of course,
question.
Arjun believes.
But then he goes on to ask that show me your Vishwa Darshan Roop. Okay, in the same text. Okay, so for those who have even an iota of doubt, okay, he says that I can give you that drishti, that ability to see that Vishwa Darshan Roop, which he is not shown to anybody else, which happens in chapter 12, 11. Okay.
So till we are granted Vishwa Darshan,
Yeah, till we are granted, we will not.
our intellect will keep babbling.
No, yeah, but Arjun also wanted that as an evidence. And my issue is the same, I have no evidence.
No, you will get to that. You will slowly get to that, okay? Because how he asks, what he asks, all those become very important. It also shows the condition of your own mind in terms of how you will be able to understand.
It starts in chapter 2. What do you say?
It starts with 2 also, but in Bhakti Yoga, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So he says, he who sees everyone's Atma, me, I am everyone's Atma. Vasudev pervading all things and sees all things and beings in me, the Atma of all. Ishwar, for such a Jnani who sees the oneness of Atma, for such a person, I, the Ishwar, is never invisible. Meaning I am never not directly observable. I am always observable. I can always be seen. Aprathyaksh nahi hai. And that Jnani does not become invisible to me, the Vasudev, because his form and my own form are the same. So if someone can see Vasudev himself, then he is Vasudev also, which is really the truth of the matter, even in case of Brahma. Am I right? So this is just the manifested form, Vasudev, and that is Nirgun, Nirakar, without any attributes, Nirgun. Here he will take on all the attributes and make us understand that the truth of that Nirgun through him. Okay? Go to the next look.
He who is based in this essence of unity serves Bhajta, me Vasudev, which is in all beings. This complete Jnani, who is living in various ways, is living in me, the Supreme Ishwar, the supreme status of Vishnu, and is eternally liberated. Nothing can stop this liberation.
So he continues to live in various ways. He's living in various ways. He'll continue to live in various ways. Okay, again referring to the way Krishna Bhagwan was seen in Mahabharata, he was living a normal life as per the principles of that particular time. Right? So there is a possibility of living with those same principles today as well in our own lives, but internally totally aligned to that one, and that one being Vasudev or Brahma. Okay? So there's nothing new which is going to suddenly happen if you were to get aligned or have union with that ultimate.
When
Not
we,
necessarily. Sorry.
no, after you.
No, please.
Yeah. So when we say that when Bhagwan is talking about creation and how Bhagwan comes as an avatar, and Bhagwan is in control of Maya, so he is all powerful. So when a person becomes realized or a jnani and becomes based in Vasudeva Brahman, does that jnani also become all powerful, or at that stage?
He knows everything and he is also all powerful. Okay, but we'll see. Okay, we'll see. He will not use any of that, because as soon as you understand that this place is just ephemeral, what will you do about it? What is that power all about? Okay.
There's no need.
There's nothing to do about it. Power only comes into action when we are, when I am there. Okay, this.
That the power is there, but it is only for the duration of that mortal life that is left.
Yeah.
There will be no return to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could be a year, it could be another decade, whatever. But it's limited
Yeah.
by time.
Of course, there are people, there are miracle men and gurus and all that who do some of these things, but that's a separate story, which they obviously are doing for other effects. Yeah, go to the next look.
Atma, meaning your own self, and that with which it is compared, that sense of comparison or analogy, with that analogy of Atma, who sees alike, what does he see alike?
So, when we say that he sees everything alike, sees everything like Atma, sees everything like myself, okay, then what is it that we are comparing with? That is the question which is being asked. What does it really mean? Okay, that question comes up in our minds, right?
I haven't understood at all.
Okay, so I say that the Atma which I see in someone who is sitting in front of me is same as the Atma which is there in me, or same as the Atma in the second person, third person. Then how do I make that comparison?
How do I know it's the same?
There has to be some comparison which I am making by which I can say it is the same.
Mm.
The same is the word which is arising out of some comparison. Right? So that's right. So how do I do that? That's what this shlok will tell us.
How do we compare?
It will seem, because you are seeing that somebody is sitting in front of you as same as yourself. That same is becoming part of that lack of comparison, zero comparison, looking the same. But when you're looking, there are two different things which you look at, and then you say it is the same. Right? So what do we see which makes it look as if it's the same? That is what the question is, which is going to be answered in the shloka. It's not difficult. Right? Yeah. Easy.
Just as pleasure is dear to me, so it is to other beings.
So, yeah. So just as pleasure, सुख जो है मेरे को अच्छा लगता है, ऐसे सबको सुख अच्छा लगता है. Okay.
And as I am averse to pain, so all beings dislike pain. In this manner, in all beings, He sees, I like pleasure, so do all others, and I shun pain, so do all others. Does not act against anyone.
Just hold on.
Yeah.
So in this fashion, this is just one set of examples. If I understand that I am feeling happy about this, I have pleasure in this, then the other person also is likely to have pleasure in the same thing. If he is going to be finding pain, then I could also be finding pain in that particular same thing. And we see this sort of a comparison being made to understand that that person, in his own natural sense, is the same as, in terms of being a human, is the same as me. To start at a very high level, human. Okay. And in that way, if you keep on going further and further, it stays the same. Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
Does not act against anyone, meaning does not harm anyone.
So such a person will not act against anyone and will not harm anyone, obviously. Yeah.
He who is non-violent in this manner and based in complete knowledge, he is considered supreme amongst yogis.
So he is complete in all knowledge and he is seeing the sameness in everybody. He is seeing that same Atma in everybody. He is seeing the same Vasudev in everybody. Sameness is a word without any form, and Vasudev is the word which has got a form. Brahma is the concept which we have spoken as that of a Nirgun, Nirakar. ठीक है? So we have finished shloka number 32. So please take 33 onwards. And the extra copies, just give it to Mala, please. The back.
I have been there.
Yeah, for the previous one. Anybody wants to collect old sheets, you can always collect from Mala. So in 33, Arjun is asking the question and understanding how difficult it is to attain this above mentioned yoga. So Arjun asks, I do not see in me the stable state of this yoga. Right? The stable state of this yoga of sameness or equality given by you. I don't see that state. And this is due to fickleness of my mind, chanchalta. और ये तो मेरे को पता ही है कि मन जो है बहुत चंचल है. इसमें ये प्रसिद्ध है इस प्रकार से भी कि मन बहुत चंचल है, एकाग्र होता नहीं है, तो मैं क्या करूं? सब में तो एक चीज देख नहीं सकता. यही प्रश्न है ना, सब हम लोगों का यही प्रश्न है. Because, hey Krishna, this mind is very fickle. The word Krishna is derived from the root Krish. He who cuts through sins and other flaws in his devotees. That is the person Krishna.
I always thought Krishna is dark, he's black.
That's subsequent attribute. But the word, by its origin in Sanskrit, is that which cuts the sins and the problems or the defects in our own self. So he is the one who is Krishna. Not only that this mind is fickle, but it torments too. परेशान भी बहुत करता है मन जो है. Meaning it agitates the body and deranges the senses and controls or constrains them. है ना? और आप कहते हो कि इसी को संभालना है, कैसे संभालूं? ठीक है. And this mind is very powerful, impossible to be controlled by anyone, and it is also very firm, hard like a shark whose shell cannot be penetrated or cut. मतलब ये जो बुद्धि है इसके अंदर कुछ घुसता नहीं है, उसको चाहे आप छुरी मार के भी कोशिश करो कैसे, we become so hardened in our thinking that we are not allowing anything to penetrate this mind. That is what he is saying. Am I right? Absolute truth in all our cases. To control the mind with these kind of signs, these kind of lakshan, it is very difficult. Meaning, just as it is difficult to control the wind, it is even more difficult to control the mind, I believe. So he says, जैसे ये वायु है, जब चलती है उसको कोई उसको रोक नहीं सकता, उसको कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता, चेंज नहीं कर सकता. ये मन भी जो है ऐसा है कि इसको हम कहीं भी स्थिर नहीं कर सकते, कहीं उसको चेंज नहीं कर सकते, कहीं मॉडिफाई नहीं कर सकते, रोक नहीं सकते, कंस्ट्रेन नहीं कर सकते, कुछ नहीं कर सकते.
And these last three sentences, Arjun is saying.
Arjun is asking this question. The question, obviously, which comes from our own
Oh, yeah.
selves as well.
No, Arjun is helping
All of us
asking
understand.
all our questions.
We'll read the shloka number 35 now.
Hey Mahabaho, there is no doubt that the mind is fickle and it is difficult to control it. But by practice, meaning in a specific chit.
So now Krishna is going to explain, and the next few words, next few lines are at the core of trying to figure out how to control this mind. Okay, and this has been also said in I think chapter 3. Okay, let's read out now. I think it's chapter 3, shloka 34, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Let's read this.
But by practice, meaning in a specific chit mind, changing one type of mindset by using the opposite thought again and again, and by the practice of constantly discovering flaws implicit in those.
Yeah, just hold on. So first thing he says is that कोई चीज हमको चेंज करनी है तो उसके ऊपर थोड़ा थोड़ा धीरे धीरे कुछ ना कुछ करते रहो. Okay, by using an opposite thought. So just like you are making a passage through a stone, what does the water do? One drop after another, it will erode the stone and the shape of the stone will change. So one drop after another, as it drops on the stone, it makes its path and becomes over a period of time something which is giving way to the water to flow.
What is this? Again and again, I understand. What is this opposite thought?
Opposite thought, because one is the mind which is running all over the place. It is following all the senses. The senses are following all the objects. And what is the opposite thought to that?
Bring the attention back
To that Brahma. I am Brahma. This is all Brahma. This is all Atma. This is all Vasudev. Which is a totally opposite thought. Okay. So by persistently, the word is Pratipaksh Bhavna in shloka number 34 of chapter 3. Pratipaksh is opposite thought. By constantly engaging in opposite thought, slowly every time.
Yeah, the mind is wandering,
Yeah.
but all it is wondering about is a material thing.
But it is only looking at the form.
Form, yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're right. So bring it, go to the essence of that, which is the opposite thought. Okay. And therefore, by using the opposite thought again and again, so practice is, and by the practice of constantly discovering flaws. What are the flaws? The form is a flaw. Yeah? The body form is a flaw. The reality of the body form is Atma. Right? So, by constantly looking at and discovering that the flaw exists in this Prakriti. Okay, we'll expand on this as we go along, but I'm saying it is existing in the entire Prakriti. the flaw. So focusing on that, which is the original nature of it, swabhav of its own. Okay, it is following the swabhav of the objects, the nature of the objects, and treating that swabhav to be its own. Okay, are you getting this point? जो मेरे शरीर का स्वभाव है वही स्वभाव मैं अपना समझ लेता हूँ, वास्तव में वो मेरा स्वभाव नहीं है. Are you getting this point? No. I see a chair. What is the essence of the chair? There is some tattva which is originally underlying it. Okay. I see a tree. There is an essence in that tree which is allowing the tree to grow and become. I see a human being. It is operating in its own way, but operated in with that particular Atma, that essence which is there inside it, that Paramatma which is there. Right? You getting that much?
How is it in a chair?
I'm asking. 1 second. Huh? Dahlia? Not getting it. We have understood that Brahma is in everything. Right? So it is there in the chair.
If we are let to.
Yeah. Then we say the tree. Then we can say a human being. Right? That way.
Human being and trees are growing. or
Yeah,
they are
Brahma
living.
is, doesn't have, sorry, the chair doesn't have life.
Right.
So
Chair
is
doesn't
there a
have-
Brahma in chair?
Yes.
It's an object.
Yeah. So how is it there?
But there's nothing other than Brahma.
Actually, this was
Yes.
my big learning with
Yes.
animate and inanimate. Finally, it's all the same.
It's not
How is it so? Let's understand that also.
So you see, Brahma is there, living and non-living things.
Yeah.
Why is
was
it
my
so?
big learning, yeah.
Let's understand why. First is understand that it is so. Okay, then we say why is it so?
because there's no second.
No, that is true. That is true.
Created by
Huh?
a living person.
That is true. But what? How?
It's
It
just
has form.
yep.
Huh? How does it get formed?
Basic elements which
No, we've just seen it in our Parokshanubhuti. We just read it
creation.
through superimposition of, our own ignorance and desire.
So you mean to say, supposing my mind runs all over the place and I say, I'm Brahma, and still, like, my mind won't run all over the place. Like I'm saying, practically, if you use
Yeah. So practically, if you apply that thought to everything, slowly over a period of time, that practice will lead to ekagrata. Okay. And how do you apply that is by seeing in everything that same, applying your mind by logic. Now, what is the logic which is there? Let me explain that also. The logic is that we are, suppose, let's say, walking on a pathway where there is a piece of rope which is lying. It's a little dark, so I suddenly see that to be a snake,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, we had that. example.
I see that to be a snake when actually it is not snake. When I go and actually examine it, it is not snake. But till the time I have not examined it and I have not put light on it, I assume it is snake and I live in that fear and I live with that snake. So this snake is a creation of my own mind through ignorance and through that fear which I have carried, that in darkness there could be a possibility, which is opposite of desire, aversion, right? And we create this entire space, the universe, through this ignorance of who I am or what that rope is, and through my own desire. Now, is the snake, would the snake would have been there if there was no rope? No. Only because there was rope there is.
We knew it is. We
Yeah.
think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw the possibility of a snake.
Form. We
Form.
saw the form.
So we say Brahma exists and therefore there is this universe. If that basis was not there, then the existence of this universe would be not there. There has to be something there which has to lead for it to appear. Agreed? That logic is clear?
Yeah, if you go back to Big Bang during the formation of universe, you will find it follows, it totally follows.
It is true. So there has to be something. That something is Brahma.
And so
Are
that
you
something
okay,
in the chair
Dahlia?
is also Brahma.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Because people have been missing,
When
so I
there's
don't
light
know.
in my mind,
Huh?
like when light falls, I see, okay, it's a snake.
Yeah, but till the time the light is not falling,
I'm in darkness.
yeah, you will
I'm
see
not
it as,
enlightened.
yes, you're seeing snake.
Actually, the other thought reverberates when we are talking this. We talk earlier of the word is, it is all they are seeing is an illusion. But it's not the same illusion for everybody.
It is not.
It's everybody has their own. Like it's my what I'm seeing is my illusion.
So now let's look at it further. Is there a snake in that rope?
I mean, yes.
Only as
I'm
in,
enlightened, say.
huh? So you say no,
It's a snake.
no.
It's not.
It's not a snake.
It's not.
It's a rope.
In the illusion, can you see the snake? No. You can. Sorry, in the illusion, can you see the rope?
No.
No, we see a snake.
Right. So you can't see it till the time we don't bring light to it.
If we are not seeing the Brahman in the chair, then we lack that light.
Light
Right.
of
Yeah.
knowledge.
So I am only focusing on that light. And slowly, slowly, the mind starts becoming ekagra. Because the form has got a cause. That cause we have understood.
Again, like in the previous verses, they are saying that when you see the Brahma in others, then it is you are all one. Which means we are one with the non-living objects also. We are one with the chair also.
Yeah.
There's no we.
It's
there's
just
only
a
one.
reflection.
That's exactly.
It is just a reflection of that same sun in broken pieces of glass mirrors.
If I'm one with the chair, why do I sit on it?
Because you are,
Ignorance.
who's that? Who's sitting on the chair?
Ignorance.
One second.
No, but
That is the body.
That is what we discussed.
That is the body.
I am not my body. That was the biggest learning for me. I am not my body.
So the body is sitting on the chair.
And the body.
And this body thinks that everything which I am doing through my mind and my senses is the only thing which exists.
equal to
How is this
snake.
existence happening? This mind, through its senses, thinks that everything is in existence. And it is happening in this particular fashion. Cause and effect.
The minute I disassociate me from my body, then my body is same as this chair. I mean, it's not me.
The whole thing is a snake.
Maybe I'm not enlightened, but I feel I'll be standing.
I am
on
giving
the
you
light.
the logic, okay? I'm first giving you the logic. So we have to understand this Brahma eventually through logic. First, we have to therefore get our mind focused, which we start doing by looking at the concept of asakti rahit kaya. Okay? Then we are trying to do some dhyan. Okay? Then we'll start doing some bhakti. Slowly, slowly, all this will fall into place to make you understand that there is nothing else except that Brahma. Because on that alone, I have built the entire universe through my mind. All the relationships, all the colors, all the forms.
So, can you just repeat this? First is asakti rahit kar, then is
We
dhyan.
just did dhyan, we're doing dhyan, and we'll do bhakti. We'll,
Bhakti.
various aspects we'll get to. The many other aspects in it. More compartments will come up, but yeah, they're all sequentially going to be in a broad space like this.
So does it mean that as I'm seeing the rope as a snake, similarly I'm seeing all around me, even others, due to my own
Desire.
the right not following?
Let me give you an example.
100%.
Because I see that I like everybody or a lot of people. Everybody is nice and good. And the person sees the same set of people from his own eyes and he says they're all
Bad.
wicked people.
Your same person is perceived different by everybody. So
And even I am part of the snake. I as my body mind.
Absolutely. So as soon as I say that this body is the one, then I should say that, yeah, I have recognized that this is part of this existence and it is not me.
I am
Because
Brahma.
that rope is totally different from the snake. No similar characteristics, okay? Urdhav Moolam, which we have just done. Okay? Totally opposite.
Otherwise, the rope and the snake are the same. They're both Brahman. Yeah.
If you can realize that, then it's good.
then there is no rope, there is no snake, there is nothing.
Then it's good. Okay, so this is an important piece here. Opposite thought again and again by practice. So persistently, consistently, again and again, barambar. Okay. Constantly discovering flaws implicit in those flaws which are visible or invisible, liked or coveted things. कोई अच्छी लगती है तो और भी ज्यादा होता है. So once we are doing this constantly, from this arises detachment, vairagya. When you start understanding the real nature of things, then you will have a certain detachment which will arise. In Patanjali Yoga, we'll say it is going to be pratyahar. Okay? In the form of non-desire, which can control the fickleness or distraction of the mind. अब ये माइंड का डिस्ट्रैक्शन कैसे कंट्रोल करना है, चंचलता कैसे कंट्रोल करनी, जो अर्जुन ने प्रश्न पूछा, उसका उत्तर यहाँ पर भगवान ने बताया, वासुदेव ने बताया. In this way, the mind and its thinking can be restrained or stopped. Thinking of nature which is running all over the place, but not expanding the word thinking in that sense. But he whose inner self is not under control, meaning whose inner self has not been moderated by practice and detachment, for him to obtain this yoga is difficult. जो ऊपर बताया योग अभी ने समझाया है, वो होना बहुत कठिन है. ध्यान बहुत कठिन है, बहुत मुश्किल है, जब तक आप एक मत पर मेरे में ही पूरा ध्यान नहीं लगाएंगे और अपने सेंसेस को, अपनी बुद्धि को, अपनी थिंकिंग को कंट्रोल नहीं करेंगे, वैराग्य उत्पन्न नहीं होगा. This is my confirmed view, he says. But whose mind is controlled by practice, by vairagya, which he has explained above, and he persists in these efforts. Again, he repeats, for him, he can obtain this yoga with the above methods. I just decided to put an asterisk. This is that development of ekagrata, equanimity of mind, stabilizing the mind in Paramatman, sameness of perception, which leads to bliss, all that which we have read so far in the above shlokas, in the previous shlokas in this chapter. So we have time for questions. We put to
My mind goes back and again to a very old movie where the hero is forced into something and by mistake he attains enlightenment. And at that time he says, I'm all powerful. I can get anything I want because I want nothing. So I'm saying that's a question which was being asked. Do you get the same power? Yeah, but
it has no meaning.
it has no meaning
Nobody
because you don't want anything.
you controlled all your desires.
Yeah, you control all your desires. You control your mind.
And your ego is gone. There's no ego.
There's
It's
no
so
ego, there's
overboard.
no need, there's no want, there's no desire.
उस समय ये थोड़ा ना लगेगा मैं पावरफुल हूँ
Hmm?
उस समय ये थोड़ा ना लगेगा
हाँ नहीं, हाँ वो नहीं
खत्म
लगेगा.
उसकी
मैं तो मूवी की बात कर रहा हूँ, but you are right. You don't even think like that.
तो खत्म उसकी आएगी
100%. कोई ईगो ही नहीं है तो वो सोचेगा ही नहीं ना.
Actions are only for the welfare of others. So that is.
I खत्म हो गया तो desire खत्म हो गया. You are right.
तो आपकी कोई चाह नहीं है ना.
है ही नहीं. No desire.
But one thing
No
I
craving,
find
no desire.
one thing I find harder than the other things, which is that I might say I might become neutral around getting Louis Vuitton bag and holidays and money and this and that, but when it comes to the death of say a loved one or suffering for somebody like that, to say I don't care, that's where the ego comes and that aversion.
नहीं,
नहीं नहीं ये
but
मत
that-
होने दो, ये मैं
पर
सन्यासी
वो
हूँ but ये मत होने
पर
दो.
वो वैराग्य
But
नहीं
that's
हुआ ना फिर.
attachment. Yeah, this is the harder
Ultimate
part.
ultimate vairagya is when you say life and death is
वो तो होना
होना
ही
ही
है.
है.
So this is for me the harder part,
हाँ,
the aversion part. कि ये मत होने दो.
मेरे लिए आज ये हार्ड है थिंकिंग कि नॉन लिविंग ऑब्जेक्ट्स में भी ब्रह्मा है. मतलब अभी तक तो नहीं सोच
नहीं,
रहे
कैसे
थे.
है?
Actually, if you study physics, you will reach there because before this universe was formed, there was just a cloud of air. There was no matter, there was no mass. किसी चीज में वजन ही नहीं है, mass ही नहीं है. So one particle was formed first. The first particle was the big, and from that one particle, this whole universe. This is what the basic theoretical physics says. So if that from the one particle everything was formed, that is both animate and inanimate. So you take everything animate and inanimate and go down to the atom and the neutrons and electrons and to the basic particle. In the end, it's just a wave of energy. So everything is same, animate and inanimate.
Isn't that particle itself part of Maya?
Part of
Maya.
it is. It is because one question which
It's the
no
start of
scientist has
Maya.
been able to answer,
This is the start.
which what was there before Big Bang?
Before?
Before Big Bang. Big Bang formed the universe. The cloud of energy was there and then one particle was formed. What was before Big Bang? No one. And that is what was
That's the
there.
answer.
No ignorance.
There's no Big Bang. There's only Brahma.
The only
No
Brahma.
ignorance that came about. Which
Yeah,
created
it came about from there. It starts from there. Yes. The whole illusion starts from there. That's thanks to him. More than this, first he guided me towards that. So every day I go and see these videos on particle physics to understand.
You
No,
can't
it's-
you can't go beyond what they are telling you,
Ah.
and what is actually beyond that, and you
No,
will
it is
understand
beyond that. But
that
they also,
that
nobody can
particle has
understand.
to exist only if there is a basis for that particle to exist. It can't exist in nothingness, and therefore we say that there is that something which is the basis for everything. And that basis we are calling Brahma. Okay, let's use it as a hypothesis for a moment, and then you realize that it is not a hypothesis; it is the only thing.
It is the only thing.
Only thing. So he started Start with it as a hypothesis. I'm not saying that you will say that it exists today as you're starting on the journey. Okay? But in mathematics also, there is enough hypothesis which you work with, and then you realize that that hypothesis is true because you see the reality to be operating with your experimentation in the same direction.
Yeah, the whole idea of hypothesis, you experiment to prove what is true.
And of course, therefore, the Vedas say, and the Rishis say, and they have written it down in various texts, and it is available consciously even in the talks which Krishna has said. So there is some merit in thinking about it. And then you will discover it for yourself.
Yeah, I have a friend who is enlightened, and 15 years he's trying to, and I've been ignoring him till it came to me and I met you. Basically, he tells me again and again, you'll find it within yourself. You'll find it within yourself. You'll find it within yourself.
So can we practice this when my mind really wanders? That's what he says. Can I say Brahma?
Yeah, you can say Vasudev, you can say Durga Ma, you can say whatever. Hanuman, you can say any energy form, any devta, any such
And I'm yet not
deity.
enlightened. So will that come about?
Yes, that's what he's saying.
None of us are enlightened. Yeah.
But he also cautions that it's not something that will happen in the flip of a button.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot of effort. there's
He's
a lot-
given so many steps before that.
Yeah. Not,
How much to eat, how much to walk, what to do, all those things.
if
also
I
he said.
again quote my friend who's been after my life for last 15 years, he says it will happen like this, but it will happen tomorrow or after 5 incarnations, rebirths. That depends.
On how much you have to,
How
yeah,
much exactly?
how much effort you're making and how much you have to get rid of.
So you are looking at that ekagrata and chit shuddhi and reaching there like tomorrow. It may take a few rebirths
So
or maybe
that
10,
model,
15 years at least.
even applies the economic logic of law of diminishing returns. Is overindulgence the first step to
Possibly.
detachment?
Yeah, so possibly. So there are some thinkers who say that.
Because
You go and enjoy yourself and do what you feel like, indulge in everything. You'll realize after that there is no meaning to
It
it.
loses its meaning.
Diminishing return.
That's when the question also arises much more easily as to if I've seen and done all this and it's got no meaning, then what is it that has got a
What
meaning?
is it that has meaning? Absolutely.
what is it that's very good?
What is it that has meaning?
So if more money and more Louis Vuitton bags and more chocolates that lose its meaning, then what is it